the PlayStation 5 420 days later. If you do some quick math, then 420 days ago is May 29th, 2021. And I do have the receipt. Yes, I did wait that long to make an amazing PlayStation 5 review, because I just love numbers. As you can see, the PS5 costed about 630 Canadian dollars. Yeah, I don't know, zoom in there. Or I'll just take a picture of it and put it in post. Now, 630 bucks may sound expensive, but it's actually a loss for Sony. That just shows how crazy expensive the technology is baked into this piece of plastic. As this thing is a beast, it loads games super fast. Also, the reason why I kept the receipt is because I would like to return the console in case something wrong was happening with it. Which, about 420 days later, nothing really happened. Well, technically 416 days, because I'm filming this, obviously not the day of. That would be way too stressful. I mean, you've all seen the receipt just now. It looks pretty normal, but upon further inspection, you'd realize that there's a 50-cent recycling fee. And yes, I just noticed this as I was writing the script. No, I'm not making it up, look at that. There's a 50-cent recycling fee. Oh wow. As previously mentioned, this thing is a beast. It's so strong that it kind of can run an Elden Ring trailer. Run! Raise your hand if you got an extremely rare console, over 40 condoms, and 0 sex. You thought I was gonna raise my hand, but this thing is a vagina magnet. Thanks to my ticket to Balan's show. Yes, it's included in Balan Wonderworld. The time has come. So today we'll address the elephant in the room. Yes, this thing. It's right here and it's absolutely massive. Weighing in at around 4.5 kilos, or about 10 pounds if you're a moron that uses the imperial system. By the way, who the f*** uses a furlong or any other imperial measurement? Do you have any idea how many milliliters are in an ounce? There's about 28.32091 milliliters in an ounce. Ha! Just kidding, it's actually 28.3141 milliliters in an ounce. Got him. Yeah, I bet you look real stupid right now. From what I've heard amongst the internet, the PlayStation 5 is really hard to find. Not in my case. I just feel really bad for people that feel the need to scramble over this piece of plastic. Oh man, I gotta have 30 tabs open. Oh, I gotta follow these guys on Twitter that inform me when the next PlayStation 5 will be back in stock. Me? I just walked into the store, didn't even expect to find one, and I got one. Granted, I found the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition more frequently than the physical edition, and I passed up on that offer every single time. Not having the ability to watch the Emoji Movie on DVD is not the world I want to live in. Also, I don't like to restrict myself to the nth degree when it comes to how I want to consume media, but that's a video for another time. I basically paid extra for a lump right here. It's a pretty good investment, especially when there are delisted games on the PlayStation Store that you can basically only get on disc. And unless you had a PlayStation 4 and purchased the games before they got delisted, there is no way you're gonna get them on the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition. I've also seen the PlayStation 5 on Amazon for pretty cheap as well. Just look at that price tag. I should have bought one and started a scalp chain. No, I'm not referring to that other obscure imperial measurement. That is 20.1168 meters. The Look of the Chunky5. So, yeah, the looks... Honestly, I thought this looked stupid back in June 2020 when I first saw this. I was thinking that this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And also, the lump thing didn't really help. Who knew, after over 11 months, I would have one right here. And 420 days later, I'd publish an amazing review. But honestly, I've come around to it. I actually really like this design. It looks so cool and futuristic. I haven't seen anything like this before. I honestly think it's a pretty sexy piece of heavy plastic. Even when it's laid on its side, it's usually like this. And yes, this is hurting my wrist. Honestly, on its side, it doesn't look as good, but it's the only way I can store my PlayStation 5. There's no way I'm going to be able to handle this vertically. It's going to cover so much. The damn stand. Oh, but Taha, do I need something to make it stand upright or horizontally? Yes, you do. You do not want to have the PlayStation 5 like this, sitting on the disk drive, and for some reason Sony also doesn't recommend you place it down. Perhaps it's because of the... There are no vents here. I actually don't know why. And yes, there is a tool for this, and it's this stupid little stand that comes with it. Now, why do I say stupid? First off, if you want to have it put upright, you need a screw, which it includes. The problem is, it's not like a thumb drive where you could screw it in with just your fingers. You actually need a flathead screwdriver. As for putting it on its side, you actually need to do this. So, twist this, basically. Yeah. I put the screw in the wrong way. This is my 416th day with it, and I still can't do this. What you want to do is twist this back, like so, and then the two clips are covering the two squares on the back. Yes, there are actually PlayStation buttons on the back, right here. And what this means is that, you notice how this is still technically floating, it's not actually just sucked onto the PlayStation? Yeah, that means it's going to come off almost every time you'd want to fiddle around with the cables. So let's say you want an Ethernet connection, and you need to pull the PlayStation 5 back. Well, guess what? It's gonna come off, and you have to put it back on again. And you need to see the specific shapes, so it gets clipped on properly. Gaystation 5's orientation. What some people have said about the Pussy 5's orientation, that some being the Ackman, of course. By the way, to all of my 34 subscribers, please don't go out of your way to harass a channel that is 38,000 times the size of mine. That would be an irresponsible thing to do. One thing that he mentioned was that the consoles have to be symmetrical for some bizarre reason. He just says, oh, symmetrical, it's great.
GameCube, symmetrical. Sega Genesis, symmetrical. You get the idea.
In my opinion, not all consoles have to be symmetrical in order for them to work, or to look good on a desk or something like that. God, I need to get this off my lap. It just needs to sit normally without the dumb little retarded plastic thing. The holy tech demo. Astro's Playroom puts the controller in center stage as if it's some sort of character in the game. It shows you the power of the microphone, penis, gyroscope, and rumble motors. The microphone, or rather coined by Charlie, the blowjob mechanics.
Does Demon Souls have any blowjob mechanics, or just Astro's Playroom?
Are situational at best and do the bare minimum to move you forwards. Not really that immersive, as Mario 3D World did the exact same thing 9 years ago on the Nintendo Wii U gamepad.
See ya, buddy. Look at how badass this is.
You guys have those, right? Right? The speakers in the controller are used to play higher frequency sounds, like the rain, for example.
It sounds like rain, it looks like rain. It's coming from here and it's muted, folks. That's the rest of the music. Bam, look at that. Finally, I found the rain.
Or in Demon Souls, the rolling sound effects.
So the more immediate sounds are actually playing through here. And again, TV's off. Oh, you can hear the wood. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful.
A thing that really interested me was the vibration. It is so good. So hyper-specific. It's basically 4K rumble in comparison to the Switch's HD audio, which, in retrospect, had less intense vibrations for lots of tiny actions. It wasn't that mind-blowing. However, for the PS5 controller, there's haptic feedback with varying levels of resistance on the triggers. It feels like you're using a spring when you pull the triggers. But seriously, it feels great. It's a totally different feeling when you pull an arrow back or use this spring froggy thing, for example. And this applies to almost all PS5 games. I said almost because of Among Us, as that doesn't have any PS5 features. Here in Black Ops Cold War, you notice that there's a certain amount of resistance to a point. Once I cross it, BAM! Gunshot. Now, back to Astro's Playroom. It's a fun 3D platformer celebrating PlayStation's history, showing a bunch of Easter eggs from first and third-party franchises that made an impact on the PlayStation ecosystem. Here's Crash Bandicoot, Resident Evil, Final Fantasy, Metal Gear Solid, Demon Souls, God of War, Bloodborne, the list goes on and on. Tons of cute little Easter eggs to discover, which adds more life and personality to the game. Collecting these artifacts shows a 3D model of a PlayStation accessory or controller, and it is actually really cool. PS4, expected greatness, delivered more. It's super cool to look at the grass being ribbon cables, the tight ropes being PS1 cables, and the tiny robots singing about GPUs. Speaking of which, the music is pretty good. The amazing interactability of the levels with the vibe pairs great with the music. It puts you in some sort of elated feeling. But how can I forget about Monkey and Frog? Basically, there's a bunch of robots you can quite literally zip yourself into. There's the monkey, which, you can climb on rocks, and the frog, even a ball. There are new gimmicks in each level, which is great, as they're always pulling out something new, and the execution of it is honestly pretty good. There's a claw machine that also grants you artifacts. You pull the triggers again to break the capsules, which is super cool. Capturing saucy moments. The non-gaming shit is pretty cool. I love the capture method. You can immediately capture a gamer moment, and you can record your voice with the clip for some genuinely hilarious moments like this. This. Mother of urine! Oh my god. And especially this.
That's the wrong button! Stab! Stab! That's not much damage. Yeah, I've taken worse. I've taken worse.
Extra PS Plus features. So, PS Plus is a subscription service that allows you to play online games, which is dumb as it's the only way you can get value out of the games you paid for, but it also gives you games on a monthly basis ranging from awful to amazing, and 100 gigabytes worth of cloud storage for game saves. Who's gonna need 100 gigs of saves? This is just on the PS4 though. On the PS5, you can get PS5 games on top of that every single month at no extra cost. The PS Plus collection, which is a stagnant amount of games available at no extra cost as well, which is great. I saved a whole $10 by playing Last of Us 1 here. Unfortunately, Persona 5 got removed for no good reason, and I think I know why. If we were to separate the word by syllables, drop the junk letters, and here we go. I rest my case. I don't know why they haven't updated the library. They could be adding so much more. They haven't given many updates on it, or any at all. Another new PS Plus thing exclusive to the Sensation 5 is Game Help. Now, from what I've heard, not many people use it even when the game is supported, which is a total shame as it's heavily underrated. Game Help provides you tips and hints for certain things like bosses or levels. They even provide small clips of how something is done, but without completely spoiling it for you. It still feels incredibly satisfying to beat a boss when you suddenly remember that you paid for this. Demon Souls, for example, has Leechmonger. I had no idea it was weak to fire. The bitch could self-heal, so using anything else is a death sentence as seen here. But beating the boss and getting to that checkpoint of a level I utterly despise is really satisfying and finally made me want to carry on rather than just quit.
No. 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 Bad. Bad leech monkey. And that's it. That's all you need to do. Turns out you just need to turn off your brain and just use magic. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Yeah, that's how you beat the demon, Leech Monkus. And yeah, I'll just cry in here. Bye now.
Also, what's really cool is that Game Help shows you tips and keeps your in-game progress in mind. So that means that if you haven't encountered the boss yet, you're not gonna get tips on the boss, so you won't get spoiled. Startup screen. It also has this background sound that is genuinely relaxing to listen to, with its own music depending on the game you hover on. It is usually mostly for PS5 games, but some PS4 games have it too.
The Grippy Thingy.
The tiny PS symbols on the controller make it more grippy, and it's great. It's also on the remote and on the inside of the plates. It really does make it easier to grip.
Sony PlayStation 5 Media Remote.
As for the Spank Nation 5 Media Remote, it's actually pretty cool. It includes 4 media buttons, which looked a bit weird in the trailer when they were completely blank. If you think about it, Sony basically auctioned off remote real estate for their PlayStation Remote. They're actually pretty cool if you want to be a piece of garbage watching Desperate Housewives all day, or the Emoji Movie. Speaking of which, the PS5 is able to read DVD and Blu-ray discs. No HD DVD though, that is really sad. Wow, an irrelevant format, unable to be read by the PS5. What a shocker. But also no music CDs, which is very odd, especially when one of the reasons for the PlayStation 2's immediate success was because it was a cheap DVD player. Also, it doesn't read PlayStation 3 games. Like, what the hell, why do I have to stream them? It sucks. These new expensive subscription services aren't even worth talking about, so just read this. As for the amount of storage on the Pussy the 5th, it doesn't really matter. What matters is what the storage can get you. For example, a 64GB SD card on the 3DS can get you so many things. It can get you Monster Hunter with the DLC, it can get you all of these games plus the demos and still have over 300,000 blocks left. However, with the power of the PlayStation 5's SSD, which has 667GB of usable storage if you discount Other, which I don't know what Other is used for, I don't know why it exists. However, with 667GB, it can get you 2 COD games and maybe 2 other PlayStation 5 games. Which sucks, which means you'll need a super fast internal SSD if you want to store your PS5 games somewhere else, and wait for a f***ing update just to use it. I can't believe it was disabled at launch, that's pretty stupid. I recently got it, and boy am I loving it. No, this is not sponsored. I bought so many PlayStation 5 games, including but not limited to Balan Wonderworld, that I only had about 2 or 3 of them at a time, which meant the other ones that were not in the SSD were just left unplayed for several months. Which means I don't get as much value out of a $90 game. Quick thing, $90 for a video game is fucking ridiculous, especially when game companies continue to nickel and dime their consumer base. With all of these stupid, intrusive microtransactions, and having an entire f***ing store and battle pass? Don't get me wrong, they shouldn't be doing this in the first place, but the fact that they're asking for more money means that I will have higher expectations. But when they're still doing the same thing, it's just really uncalled for. And no, it does not cost $10 extra for the publisher to release their games on the PlayStation 5, especially when Sony themselves are doing it. Backwards compatibility. The PS5 works with almost all PlayStation 4 games, except with like 6 of them. And no, I have no idea why they don't work, it's so weird. At launch, Joe's Diner, a PS4 heavy hitter, did not work on the game Masturbation Square Root of 25. Luckily, Sony finally fixed this problem by making it able to be compatible with this thing. That's great, let me just look up the price of Joe's Diner. And I hate the world. Thoughts for the Vagina 5's future. For the future, I think it's going to be a really interesting console to watch. The upcoming games look pretty cool, PSVR 2 looks really interesting, and I would love to try that out. They just announced this loyalty program called PlayStation Stars. It's sort of like Microsoft Rewards, and a mix of My Nintendo, where you get points by playing games and buying games. So by playing games, you get achievements, and then those achievements you could redeem them for PlayStation Plus or any of Sony's paraphernalia. I'm genuinely excited for these new gimmicks, introduced with the PlayStation 5 controller, introduced to more genres. But seriously, the rumbly tumblies in this inbred boomerang adds so much more immersion to any video game, when it's done right, of course, or when it's done at all. And it's probably going to keep being hard to find for other people, and it'll keep selling gangbusters. Overall, I think it's a pretty good system with some room for improvement. Well, we'll see if it gets better. Tune in next time in 270 days, marking the 690th day I own the PlayStation 5, on April 19th, 2023. I just made another deadline to stress myself over.